How Gbajabiamila is attempting to corner $30 billion citizens' property special investigator is traced to Sabio. Welcome to the news and thank you for tuning in to listen. Please subscribe to our channel to get notified when we post hot juicy news updates. Please click on the notification bell. Continue to starve Special Investigators Team of Operatory Funds, contrary to President Tinubu'S directive. Details emerged at the weekend about how President Bola Tinubu's Chief of Staff, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, and the new cabal at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa, Abuja, allegedly attempted to corner the $30 billion looted funds and the citizens' landed choice property traced by Special Investigator Jim Obazi to Tunde Sabiu, a former personal assistant to ex-President Muhammadu Buhari. It was also learned that the presidency cabal has intensified its fight against a complete government takeover of the 4 errant banks seized by the Central Bank of Nigeria early this month by alleging arraigning for the cronies to surreptitiously buy over the affected banks. The former owners of a seized bank, it was further learned, are currently negotiating with some highly placed presidential officials on how to retrieve the banks from the CBN through the back door. CBN had on January 10th announced the sack of the management of Union Bank, Titan Trust Bank, Polaris and Keystone Banks and dissolved their boards in line with the directive of President Bola Tinubu following the report of a special investigator, Jim Obazi, on the errant banks. The Aso Rock cabal, it was learned, had on a number of occasions allegedly concocted lies against the special investigator with the aim of convincing President Tinubu to halt his investigation and eventually sack him. The cabal has also allegedly been shielding many of the suspects that should have been interrogated by the Office of the Special Investigator. Competent Aso Rock sources said, if not for the determination, resilience, courage, and unwavering devotion to duty exhibited by the special investigator, he and his team would have been unable to retrieve the 4 banks from their sacked management and dissolved boards, as top government and presidency officials were busy hobnobbing and conniving with them and other alleged looters of the nation's commonwealth. Civil efforts were also allegedly made by the cabal to prevail on the special investigator to compromise his investigation and reports to the president. The cabal also allegedly instructed the special investigator to report to them first before briefing and presenting his reports to the president. It was gathered that trouble, however, started when the special investigator refused to be dictated to by the Aso Rock cabal on how to go about his job and who to investigate. The special investigator, it was learned, refused to take instructions from members of the cabal, insisting that it's against the presidential directive and mandate given to him by President Tinubu, who appointed him. As a result of the special investigator's refusal to dance to the tune of the cabal, it was learned that they have ensured that his team of investigators is continuously staffed of the necessary funds to enable them to carry out their assignments, contrary to repeated instructions from President Tinubu that the operation should be adequately funded. Meanwhile, competent sources told the Fox News that Sabiu, through his lawyer, had at a recent meeting with the special investigator agreed to refund $30 billion and also forfeit to the federal government 30% of the Citizens' Choice houses and other landed properties allegedly traced to him. The special investigator, it was learned, had planned to brief President Tinubu on his return from his trip to France with a view to securing his approval to commence the implementation of the agreement reached with Sabiu. It was, however, learnt that when Gbajabiamila got wind of Sabiu's deal with the special investigator, he allegedly trailed the former presidential aide to the venue of the recent book launch on former President Muhammadu Buhari by his chief spokesperson Femi Adesina in Abuja. President Bola Tinubu also attended the book launch, But the President Chief of Staff, Gbajabiamila, who was supposed to stay behind at the Aso Rock Presidential Villa in the absence of his principal, was said to have also headed to the venue of the book launch, where he sought audience with Sabiu, who was also in attendance at the event. Gbajabiamila was said to have then fixed an appointment with Sabiu for 11 p.m. that night. At the meeting, Sabiu was said to have disclosed to Gbajabiamila his plan to refund the 30 billion naira loot and also forfeit some land choice property to the federal government. Having reached an agreement with the special investigator, it was further learned that Gbajabiamila, during the meeting, instructed Sabiu to henceforth relate with him on the matter instead of the special investigator. Gbajabiamila allegedly also told Sabiu that he had already made recommendations to Tinubu to sack the special investigator, adding that the president had transferred him to the mandate to recover looted funds as well as the landed choice property. Sabiu and his lawyer, who was accompanied with him at the meeting with Gbajabiamila, were said to have been shocked by Gbajabiamila's utterances and instructions. Sabiu, through his lawyer, later got across to the special investigator to inform him that his client has been instructed by Gbajabiamila not to relate with his office anymore on the recovery of the looted funds and forfeiture of his landed choice property to the federal government, as the president had directed him, Gbajabiamila, to take over the recovery of the looted funds and the forfeiture of the property. Gbajabiamila then allegedly gave Sabiu and his lawyer a private bank account in which he should deposit the $30 billion. The President Chief of Staff was said to have also told Sabiu that only 20% of the refunded $30 billion due to be paid into the federal government coffers, while the remaining 80% to be shared among top government officials, including 3 serving ministers and some highly placed presidency officials whose list was shown to him. Sabiu and his lawyers were then said to have called the special investigator to inform him that he could no longer continue any discussion with him on the matter, following Gbajabiamila's instruction that he should no longer relate with his office. The special investigator is said to be currently preparing a report on the development, which he plans to hand over to President Tinubu on arrival from his trip to France. Meanwhile, a coalition of 259 anti-corruption Meanwhile, a coalition of 259 anti-corruption civil society and human rights group, Coalition for Transparency and Economic Reforms, COTER, has however called on President Tinubu not to allow anyone, no matter how highly placed, to rubbish the credibility already secured for his administration in the international community through the invaluable works of the special investigator, Jim Obazi. Alright, on this note, we have come to the end of the news. We say thank you for tuning in to listen. Until I come your way next time, enjoy the rest of your day.